Imagine the worst moment of your life. You are standing at a funeral, looking at a casket. Or perhaps you are sitting in a small, cold office, and your boss is firing you. Or maybe your partner is crying, staring into your eyes, breaking up with you. The atmosphere is heavy. It is suffocating. You know you should look sad. You know you should cry. You know the social script demands tears. But instead, you feel a twitch in your lip. Your throat tightens. The corners of your mouth begin to quiver against your will. And then, the unthinkable happens. You start to smile. Or worse, you let out a short, sharp laugh. You try to stop it. You bite your tongue until it bleeds. But the more you try to suppress it, the harder it pushes to get out. The other person looks at you with absolute horror. They think you are a monster. They think you are heartless. They think you are mocking their pain. And deep down, in the darkest corner of your mind, you start to wonder, am I a psychopath? Is something broken inside of me? Society teaches us that laughter equals happiness. We are conditioned to believe that a smile is a sign of joy. But psychology tells us a darker, more complex truth. If you laugh during tragedy, you aren't broken. And you certainly aren't a sociopath. You are experiencing a biological glitch known as nervous laughter. And today, we are going to expose why your brain betrays you when you need it the most. To understand this, we have to look far back into your evolutionary history. We have to look at your ancestors. In the animal kingdom, baring teeth isn't always a smile. When a chimpanzee is terrified, or when it submits to a dominant alpha to avoid being attacked, it pulls its lips back and shows its teeth. To a human observer, it looks like a grin. But it is not a grin. It is a fear grin. It is a primal signal of submission. It says, I am not a threat. Please don't hurt me. When you stand before an angry boss, or a police officer, or a grieving family member, your conscious mind sees a social interaction. But your primal brain sees a predator. It sees a threat to your survival. And somewhere in your DNA, that ancient switch flips. You aren't smiling because it's funny. You are smiling because your primal brain is terrified, and it is trying to show submission to de-escalate the threat. But there is a second layer to this. It isn't just evolution. It is about how your brain processes energy. Think of your brain like a high-pressure cooker. When you receive traumatic news, your system is instantly flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. It is a tidal wave of raw emotional energy. For most people, the brain processes this surge as sadness, and the energy is released through crying. But for you, the system gets overloaded. The pressure rises too fast. The voltage is too high. Your brain needs to release that energy immediately to prevent a psychological collapse. Crying is a slow release valve. But laughter? Laughter is a quick release valve. It is an explosion of breath and sound. So, when you giggle at a funeral, you aren't amused. You are venting. Your brain is literally panicking, and laughter is the only way it knows how to keep you from fainting or screaming. This creates one of the most painful social loops a human can experience. Psychologists call it the feedback loop from hell. It starts with a serious situation. You get nervous. You laugh. The people around you get angry because they think you are being disrespectful. Their anger makes you even more nervous, which makes you laugh even harder. It is a death spiral of social isolation. You end up looking like the villain, even though you are the one suffering the most panic. This is often a form of a defense mechanism called denial of reality. By laughing, your subconscious is violently rejecting the painful moment. It is trying to convince you, this isn't real. This is a joke. If I laugh, maybe it will go away. It is a form of cognitive dissonance. Your reality is tragic, but your reaction is comedic. It is a shield. It is a wall. It is your mind trying to protect your heart from shattering into a million pieces. Have you ever noticed that the villains in movies, like the Joker, laugh when they are in pain? Fiction exaggerates it, but the psychological root is real. It represents a mind that has been pushed past the breaking point, where the wires between pain and pleasure have crossed. But here is the twist that will change how you see yourself. Studies suggest that people who laugh at serious moments aren't less empathetic. Often, they are hyper-empathetic. You feel the atmosphere so intensely, the grief, the awkwardness, the crushing weight of the room, that your system short-circuits. A person with low empathy, a true narcissist, wouldn't care enough to get nervous. They would just be bored. They would be indifferent. But you care too much. You are so desperate to fix the bad vibe in the room. You are so terrified of the negative emotion that your body forces a smile to try and lighten the mood, even when it is completely inappropriate. It is a misguided, desperate attempt at peacemaking. You are absorbing everyone else's pain, and your body is shaking under the weight of it. Now, it is important to note that in rare cases, this can be a neurological condition called the pseudobulbar effect, or PBA. This is where there is a disconnect between the frontal lobe, which controls emotion, and the cerebellum and brainstem, which control reflexes. But for 99% of you listening, this isn't brain damage. It is just severe anxiety disguised as a smile. So how do you stop it? How do you save yourself from the humiliation? The worst thing you can do is fight it. Fighting it adds more stress to the pressure cooker, which leads to more laughter. Instead, psychologists suggest a technique called grounding. When you feel the giggle rising in your throat, you need to shock your brain back into the physical reality. Bite the inside of your cheek. Dig your fingernail into your thumb. Pinch your leg. Create a small, sharp physical sensation. This forces your brain to focus on the physical pain rather than the emotional overload. It redirects the energy. Or, if you can, simply own it. Be brave enough to narrate your own malfunction. Say to the person, "I am so sorry. I laugh when I am devastated. It is a nervous tic. Please ignore it." Usually, simply acknowledging the elephant in the room breaks the spell. It lowers the pressure. The moment you admit it, the fear of judgment fades, and often, the urge to laugh fades with it. We live in a world that judges us by our surface reactions. We demand that grief looks like tears and fear looks like trembling. But human emotion is messy. It is not a straight line. It is a chaotic web of biology and psychology. So the next time you see someone smiling at a tragedy, don't judge them. Don't call them a monster. They aren't laughing because it's funny. They are laughing because it hurts too much to cry. And if that person is you, forgive yourself. It is not a malfunction. It is just your armor. You are not broken. You are just feeling everything at once.